think maybe if we talk about the peripheral dyslexia dysgraphia first, and that's
peripheral dysgraphia. Did you say peripheral? Yes. So at the very periphery of spelling is the actual act of handwriting. And so some children have a lot of trouble even just controlling the pen or forming the letters properly. Now, that's nothing to do with language itself, but it is an important part of spelling if we mean by spelling writing. And so you might find children who are much worse at spelling when they have to handwrite than when they have to spell aloud. So if you say to the child, write down boat, the child's handwriting is such that you can't really tell it's the word boat. If you say to that child, how do you spell boat? That child might well be able to say B-O-A-T. And that's how you tell it's completely peripheral. It's just when you've got to handwrite. Mm-hmm. Now, the question is how important these days is handwriting? So that's one thing to think about. A child like this can learn to use a keyboard. And so my handwriting used to be beautiful. I learned italic handwriting at school, but I hardly ever have. Years and years I haven't handwritten anything except my signature, which also looks nice. So my handwriting is really terrible now. My keyboarding is not too bad. So peripheral dysgraphia is a very fascinating thing, but it might be becoming less and less important as handwriting itself becomes less important. Nevertheless, it's really interesting to see these children who can say B-O-A-T when you ask them to spell boat, but when they try and handwrite it, it's a mess. That's what peripheral dysgraphia is. And it's peripheral because it's the very end of the process of spelling. Right. That is the actual handwriting bit.
Yeah, but if someone were to have peripheral dysgraphia and other types of dysgraphia, at least in the research that I have read, and if they also have dyslexia types as well, it's kind of important to integrate them all because there's that spelling reading connection. And having that ability to actually have the physical motor skills in writing it out as opposed to typing it, there's just that extra level of attention to it.
Yes. So let me just mention once again, we need to be mentioning this every 10 minutes. Though I've talked about the different particular types of dyslexia, in order to understand those types, you need to find a child who only has that one kind. And there are such children. And so most of the research will be on children who have one particular kind of dyslexia, because they're the ones that are scientifically informative. But to have the belief that children don't have two kinds or three kinds, that's very bad, because most children have if they've got a problem with one kind of dyslexia, they'll have the others too. So in the clinic, you're going to see children with two or three of these types. You'll only rarely see children with one of them. But that doesn't mean that you can't have tailored treatment for each of the three types. You do your testing of the child and you say, this child's got attentional dyslexia and surface dyslexia, so I'm going to have to focus on attending to the first letter and also on learning whole words. So the story is, it's good to study children who have only one kind, but that's not because they're the common kind of children. Most children have more than one kind. And of course, most children with dyslexia also have spelling problems. Of course, there are certainly children with dyslexia. There are no children that I know of who have spelling problems, but no reading problems. So for some reason, it doesn't go in that direction, but there are plenty of children who have good reading and bad spelling. And there are plenty of grown-ups who have good reading and bad spelling. Highly educated grown-ups, they'll still spell by sound, and so they'll misspell have as H-A-V, and these are highly educated people. So the idea of good reading and bad spelling, though it's certainly seen in children, is even seen in adult skilled readers. We must all know people who spell have as H-A-V or yacht as Y-O-T.
And I think that's an important thing to highlight, just thinking of posts that I've seen. I mean, I'm speaking as a dyslexic who has problems with my spelling. It's important not to judge a person's education level by their spelling.
Absolutely. That's why some of the case studies of people with good reading and bad spelling are so important, because a lot of these people are highly educated university students and have important jobs. And people often say, well, the spell checker will catch all their misspellings, but spell checkers don't do that because you've tried spell checkers. What they come up with is often not the right word. If you write down YOT, there's no way a spell checker is going to say, no, what you mean is YACHT. So because of and again, the unfortunate nature of English, misspellings are very hard for spell checkers to catch. You've just got to learn how to spell yacht. Nothing you can do about it or have.
Right.